Hello, this is Rachel Dearman. I am recording a podcast to review the movie Gifted. This is a final course project for the social and emotional needs of gifted learners. And this is a film that was produced in 2017 by director Mark Webb. It was released in April of 2017, and it did very well and grossed $40 million worldwide. So the basis of this movie is a small town girl near Tampa, Florida, named Mary, who is 7 years old, is being raised by her Uncle Frank. Her mother passed away from suicide, and her brother, Frank, is raising Mary and has been raising her since she was a baby. Mary's father is not in the picture, and the premise of the movie is that Mary is trying to find herself when her grandmother comes in, and Evelyn is seeking to gain custody of Mary and move her to Massachusetts because she believes that Mary is a 1 in a billion math prodigy and should be devoting her life to seeking fame in mathematics. And Evelyn also herself was a world-famous mathematician, so she wants her granddaughter to follow in her footsteps. So getting kind of into the review of this movie, Mary is a very precocious little girl for her age. She expresses her feelings using extensive vocabulary, and she gets angry very easily and lashes out when she feels things are just pretty unjust in her world. Mary lashes out when she's angry. She screams and throws things. An example would be when her Uncle Frank was unfortunately not for purchasing her a piano that she was interested in learning to play. She punched him and hit him and threw things at him. It was had a heightened sense of anger. She's also seen punching a 12-year-old boy on the school bus when he bullies a much younger child. She calls out in the classroom, speaks without raising her hand, and she's seen yelling at the principal when she is reprimanded for her behavior. She often says that no one understands her, and she doesn't need to go to school because she already knows that everything that there is to know in first grade. She is seen fidgeting while she's completing work and is overexcitable when she knows the answer to her teacher's questions. She completes work quickly and is often bored with her age-level school content. So she is not happy at school and really just expresses that with kind of an angry attitude. She's not interested in playing with the children her age and comments that they are so childish and boring. She says multiple times throughout the beginning of the movie that she does not need friends. And her best and only friend is Roberta, who is a middle-aged neighbor who babysits her when her uncle is working or unavailable. She doesn't want to play outside or with toys. She does have a one-eyed cat that she really loves. And besides playing with her cat, her favorite activity is completing highly difficult math algorithms. So she will sit for hours and work on them all day long until her uncle tells her she needs to get up and do something different, engage in a different activity. She's shown throughout the movie discussing topics like war and the afterlife, all things which are very mature topics for a 7-year-old girl. Mary really learns to cope at school by attempting to befriend her same-age peers. She does that very awkwardly at first, but her teacher kind of helps her to adapt to her classroom and works with her on socializing and acting appropriately in the classroom. Mary loves the beach, and she's seen outdoors with her uncle and trying to escape her desire to constantly work on math problems. So in one scene, she's been working on her math all day, and her uncle says, "We got to put it down. We got to go do something different. Let's go outside." So he takes her to the beach, and being in that nature gives her space to be free and kind of relax and forget about working so hard to learn new math algorithms. Mary has some educational needs that are eventually met by her teacher and school faculty. At first, Mary's teacher notices her ability and begins to differentiate in the classroom. Pretty quickly, she picks up on her highly intelligent mind and her capabilities. She gives Mary rigorous and accelerated work that is appropriate for Mary. And she relates to Mary in a different way than her peers, and is trying to find ways to keep her interested. She talks to her in more of an adult way. Mary's principal notes that Mary should be moved to a highly sought-after gifted school, but Mary's uncle wishes for her to stay at her home school with her same-age peers. In the end of the movie, a great compromise is found when Mary attends the gifted school only for morning sessions, and then she is bused to her neighborhood school in the afternoon for recess with her new friends. So that's kind of a nice balance, because she's given the opportunity to work in a place that's challenging her and meeting her needs, but also she's being able, her social needs are being met at her neighborhood school, and she's able to be part of that young community. The response to Mary's talents was different for the important people in her life. Unfortunately, Mary's grandmother wanted her to spend her entire life working on math and dedicating her life to her academic talents. The story plot really thickens when Mary's grandmother, Evelyn, hires a high-powered attorney to fight her son, Frank, for custody of Mary. During that court case, Mary began working with tutors, and Evelyn was paying for those tutors many, many hours a day to work on complex math work. She's seen working after school in a small pool house just by herself with her grandmother and her tutors, no other children, just kind of lots of books, head down on the work. Mary's grandmother was a mathematician, and she definitely pushed Mary to become world famous for her gifts and kind of told her that's really what her purpose is. Ultimately, Evelyn did not gain custody of Mary and left Mary in the care of her son, Frank. Mary's grandmother pushed Mary too hard and was putting inappropriate pressure on Mary to dedicate her life to math at a very young age, which probably caused a lot of stress for the child. Mary's uncle Frank wanted Mary to live her life as a normal child, so he was trying to provide a safe haven for her in his home. He wanted her to learn about life and love and to be kind and hardworking. Frank said his deceased sister would have wanted Mary to have a normal life, and he vowed to give that to her. He did support her academic talents by teaching her math at a very young age and provided her materials to work on her math at home. But he also encouraged her to try new activities and to make friends of her same age. He wanted her to socialize appropriately, and he did eventually enroll her in Girl Scouts and on the soccer team to try to expand her interests into something besides math. Mary's teacher was a kind and dedicated teacher. She worked hard to make sure Mary had what she needed to be successful academically. She identified Mary's talents very quickly and went to her principal to discuss Mary's unique needs. She went as far as to attend the court cases to support Mary and her uncle in his quest to keep custody of Mary when Mary's grandmother wanted to take her into her own custody. I feel like this movie was accurate in some ways and unlikely in other ways. In my profession as a gifted teacher, I have seen children who are hyper-focused on their talent like Mary. So kids who just really, really only want to participate in math activities. It's hard for them to stop working on math, or if they're highly focused on reading, they'll read all day long and nothing else really seems challenging enough for them or interesting to them. And so that's kind of how Mary was in the movie. As a math prodigy, Mary is almost obsessed with working on math problems that challenge her. She doesn't really want to work on anything else. I have worked with kids who don't have a wide variety of interests and only engage in academics. I also have worked with children who are like Mary, in that they are very precocious and often disrespectful to teachers. When I've asked students to put their books down because we're moving into a different topic, and they're really, really really gifted in language arts, they will be disrespectful and kind of throw tantrum like Mary did. Those children often do not have the social skills to relate to adults in appropriate ways and have also been treated like adults, so they act as if they are one. And they will have no problem speaking to an adult as if they are a peer and not a student. Like Mary, many of these children are the ones that have a hard time making same-age friends and find themselves isolated at school. So those are pretty common things that I've seen in the movie that I kind of deal with on an annual basis with my students. The stereotypes that I noticed in the movie is when Mary is depicted finishing her work quickly. As we know, not all students just race through their work and are done and are left throughout the day not doing anything. Not all gifted children work at a fast pace, and they are sometimes slowed down by their intense thoughts. And finally, I find it very unlikely that a 7-year-old would attend classes with adult students. In the end, when she's put in the gifted center, She is working with college adults, probably from the age of 20 to 25. I've seen and heard about prodigies attending college and skipping grades, but the gap is very rare and highly unlikely due to child safety laws and the fear of just how would she relate to those adults. I think it'd be more likely for a child to be put with other children of mixed ages to meet her needs, not with adults. All in all, I feel that this was a sweet tale of a girl finding herself in a world that doesn't quite understand people who are highly intelligent, and I would definitely recommend this movie to anyone who might want to understand the life of a gifted child. This is my review of Gifted, and I really have enjoyed the movie, and I am really glad that I was able to review it today. Thank you so much.